Here's one that's going to shock a lot of people. Polygamy. What does the Bible say about polygamy? Does it support it? Does it condemn it? Shocking answer is no, it don't condemn it. Yes, it actually supports it. Not only in the Old Testament, but there's some references in the New Testament as well. But like Jesus said, He is not here to abolish the prophets or the Old Testaments. He's here to fulfill them. So He never condemns them. He never condemns polygamy or having multiple wives. So in other words, the Old Testament's pretty much coming to full play when it comes to this particular argument. There's a lot of discussion. God naturally made it one man, one woman. But there's a lot of scripture in the Bible which shows contrary. There's always an exception to, well, not always, but there's an exception to that one man, one woman scripture. And there are many references in the Bible of having multiple wives. Abraham, Jacob, David, Solomon. I mean, there's just tons of them. Lamech, in Genesis 4:19, and Lamech took 2 wives. I mean, it's plain as day. Some of them had 700 wives and like tons of concubines, which are nothing but women to sleep with. That's it. Now, there's even further down the line. There's Deuteronomy 21:15, and it speaks of a man has 2 wives, and he hates one wife but loves the other, but the one who he hates has his first trueborn son, and then the other one has a son. He must give both shares to the son whose wife he hates, if that made any sense to you. So it speaks to different references, to pretty much treat your wife equally if you have more than one wives. Exodus 21:10. If he takes him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. Another reference. If you have more than one wife, each wife must be equal, treated equal, given everything equally. You cannot favor one over the other. It's in the Bible. There's many references to polygamy. 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 13. 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 8, and I'll read this one to you. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms, and gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And if this were too little, I would add to you as much more. He add more. I mean, it doesn't specifically say add what more or more of what, but he already said wives. So you can imagine he would add more wives as well if that satisfied him. There's references in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 1 through 5, Romans 7 1 through 3, 1 Peter 3 through 7. I mean, there's multiple verses that refer to polygamy. There's not one verse that condemns it. Not one. Now, some try to say that it's wrong, it's cheating, it's adultery, but it's not, because marriage, as long as you are married, it is okay by God. Now, man's law is different than God's law. Man's law says you can only have one wife in America. God's law is different, but people are afraid to follow God's law, as you will be judged by man. not by God. So, even though you may not be able to have a legal marriage to multiple wives in America, as long as you have a godly marriage, a spiritual marriage by someone who practices marriages for polygamists, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Do I practice polygamy? No. I have a wife who I've been married for 13 years, and we have 5 kids. That's plenty for me. I'm happy with what I got. I don't need no more wives. No. No more children. No. But I'm not going to condemn someone who loves multiple women equally, has children by all those women, and are married or covenant through God. Now, there are, I'm not going to say the exact names, but there are 2 shows on TV which refer to polygamy. One is a family who works through struggles, just like any marriage does, with all of his wives, but they're all equal in his eyes. He treats them all well and has kids by all. There's another show, no name specifically, who they are trying to help people, or as they refer to, save people from polygamous marriages that they don't want to be in, because they're like falling apart or whatever the case may be. My point is this: if you love someone, a marriage will last, and last for a long time, or forever, as it should be. If you marry someone for the wrong reason, either not for love, for lust, for political reasons, or anything more than love and through the Spirit of God, your marriage probably won't last long. Either it be with a man and 1 wife, a man with 2 wives, or a man with 10 wives. It all varies on why you get married. And you should only get married through love. I mean, what else should you do? Because many of the references in the scripture of polygamy, as history shows, when a man has multiple wives but marries, like a king would marry a princess from a different royalty, he ended up getting slain. That way that royalty takes over his kingdom. I mean, that's a perfect example of a bad marriage. Bad reason to be married. So I mean, think about it. Really look into it. Now, again, I don't practice polygamy, but I support it, and I will not condemn anyone who does. Question is to you. Read the scripture, come to your own conclusion. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone else's personal opinion about it, because there's a lot of personal opinions going around, but not biblical opinions. Mine's based off of biblical facts. So come up with your own biblical facts, either to support it or condemn it, and get with me. Let me know. And if you have any problems with what I'm saying, feel free to say it. I don't care. But prove me wrong through biblical scriptures. Show me where it says you cannot have multiple wives, and I'll show you many more scriptures to counter that. Do it. I dare you.